My right-hand woman, Erin, has instructed me to do a 5 things about me video. Um, she instructs me to do a bunch of things, and some of them she may live to regret. It's happened to her before. Okay, I'm doing this for you, Erin. Number one fact about me is that I've had 4 pets whose names have been inspired by King Henry VIII and his second wife, the eventually beheaded Anne Boleyn. And you will see more of them in a video that's coming up relatively soon. I've also had pets without tutor names, including the late great Gigi, who has a memorial video on this YouTube channel. She came from a rescue group and she already had her name, so I kept it the same. And I was walking her one day in 2006 wearing this shoe style that's very aptly named a slide, which I then slid out of and ended up on the sidewalk. And I got a really severe sprain in my left hand, which luckily I was not wearing any jewelry because I never wear jewelry at home. That's like a bonus fact. But the fact I was talking about here was that after that big sprain, I waited about a year to see if it would settle down, but it changed the size of my finger permanently. So I had already designed my own engagement ring in 2001 without really the style that I wanted, and when I had to resize it in 2007, I realized I might as well do the style I always wanted, and I did. So that's the second fact, that Gigi helped me redesign my engagement ring. For my third fact, this is totally random, but I hate peeling bananas. I find it very disgusting. I'm also disturbed by the banana strings, which I have found out are essential for bananas to grow. So, I mean, I understand they have to have their strings, but I don't want to touch them. A fourth thing about me is that I'm a speed reader. I always have been. It actually paid off for me in my first job after college, where I worked for a wire service, where the news would come in. It was business focused, so news would come in about company earnings by fax, or they had different, printer. It was really before the big email days. Some banks would deliver their earnings by hand. They would send a messenger over, and you would have to write a headline really fast. And a lot of times the most important facts, of course, are at the bottom of a press release. So I really excelled at that job, which was good, because if you were beaten by the competition on a market moving story, even by say 10 seconds, there was this tradition that you would have to write a note to like the bosses explaining what happened. And I was like, what happened was that I was slow, bitches. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, there's no big story. One time, the printer jammed. Other than that, I'm like, yeah, I just blew it. So it got really annoying to me, and I was annoying them by not giving them a real reason, because I couldn't take this seriously. So I'm like, look, I'll keep doing these notes. If you write a note for me every time I beat the competition by a minute or more on a market moving story. And after about a week of that, and them having to write me, I gave myself like much harder achievements to reach than they were giving me as punishment. And after about a week of them writing a lot of notes, the whole note system came to an end. The fifth and final fact about me is that I didn't drink caffeinated coffee until last year. It always kind of made me feel ill and my heart race, and I did like the taste of iced coffee, so I drink decaf, and I was satisfied with that. But then here comes the thing about Erin again. We went to a trade show in Vegas last year, and it was just an exhausting experience. So she decided to ply me with coffee, and she started out with those little cans that are also very sugary, because she knows I love sugar. And so she was, feeding me coffee, caffeine for the first time pretty much ever, and she was really pleased with herself until she found out that if you give me a little too much caffeine, I turn really mean. But then she learned how to control my intake, and now she brings me 1 Starbucks cold brew grande a day, and then I guess I have some energy, but I'm not horrendous to be around. So that's why I said she might regret telling me to do something, because boy, did she regret how I acted a couple times in Vegas. Sorry, Erin. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss the next video. Remember, I'm going to talk about my Henry VIII inspired pets, and I've got a whole bunch of other fun stuff coming up.